Good morning. Happy Sunday, you guys out there. I was reading an article. I was trying to figure out if I could find something to upload on my YouTube channel because I told you guys I wasn't going to upload that much. But let me get straight to the point. So anyway, I was looking and I seen home theater seats that are 20% off, and they're nice home theater seats, right? So I'm like sitting there, like I'm sitting there reading the article. So I'm sitting there reading an article and I'm looking at those seats. I said, man, them some nice seats. And it got me thinking about when COVID hit. I remember when COVID hit, a lot of us were stuck in the house, and then we couldn't go to the theaters, and I really think that hurt the theaters. I think uh, in the defense of streaming services, I think a lot of people are blaming streaming services for the industry, the theater not doing so well. But I think COVID hit it real hard. And then it was just one thing after another, and then you had the qualities of movies that they were putting out, which I'm not going to even say the words because I'm trying to stop using those words because those words, I use them and I do see what people use those words for. Let me just say that they put a lot of stuff in movies that turned the majority of moviegoers off. That's why you got movies like Zootopia that does well. You got movies like um, I went and seen Barbie, and I thought Barbie was funny, and I really like Barbie. I thought it was funny. I knew it'd make people mad. It made $1 billion. You got Mario. It made $1 billion. You got Deadpool and Wolverine. It made $1 billion. You got the that one that you got Lilo and Stitch. It made $1 billion. I mean, when you make and not to mention the horror movies that you put out, they don't make $1 billion, but they're very profitable. Now some are hit or miss, but the majority of horror movies, people enjoy it. But anyway, back to the theater seats. I said, man, those are some nice theater seats. So I was looking at this room, right? And I was sitting there looking at this room. I said, man, if I had a room double the size of this room, I'd make a theater room. But guess what? At the end of the day, I would still go see a movie at the theaters. I go see movies like I wanted to go see Five Nights at Freddy 2. I just decided not to go. Uh, there's a lot of movies that I decided not to go see, and I heard bad reviews about it. But the thing is, when Five Nights at Freddy 2 comes out on 4K, I'm going to buy it. Just because I want to go with my Five Nights at Freddy first one I got. But, I was thinking about, you know, I would, if I had the funds and I had the room, I would have a state. Uh, if I had a, this is a nice sized living room, and I live in a double. And if I had a room big enough, double this room, and it was extra, I would make it into a theater room. But you got to sink a lot of money into doing that because at the end of the day, man. See, this is just me. Uh, I like going to the theaters, but I like going to the movie theater experience. I really enjoy it. I really do. I only had one time I almost had an altercation with somebody. My friend that come in, he was running late. And I usually go to movies with him. So he was sitting down and he was telling me about, he's just talking to me and there was nothing playing. And you know, this is the only time I had a bad experience at well, I had a couple experiences at theater where I lost my temper, so I stepped outside and I told my friend, I said, hey, I'm gonna go outside, man. And then somebody had said something to my friend I didn't appreciate because he was talking to me and the movie wasn't playing. And so I looked at him and I said real loud, I said, hey, I said, I'm gonna go outside, man. I said, I gotta go out. I gotta go out for a minute. And then the guy that said something to my friend, I looked at him and I looked at him. I said, yeah, let me know if this. I called him a cuss word. And I looked at him so I could let him know I'm going outside. So I went outside and waited on him. And I sit in the hallway and I waited on him. I waited on him because I was so mad, and he never walked outside. So I came back in. I sat down. I said, "Did he say anything else to you?" He goes, "No, he never said nothing else because he was with his wife." And he said something real smart aleck to my friend because I didn't like it. So that's the only time I had a, uh, you know, I, the second time I had something with somebody. Uh, I was with my three little boys, and I wanted to just walk back there and just start wailing on this dude because he was running his mouth, but I didn't because my boys were real little at that time. That was the only bad time I had an experience, and I really don't like when that happens. So, um, yeah, and I have one more experience where I went and I got an assigned seat. Just to tell you how silly people are. And I mean, there are some simpletons out there. And let me put this out there. I'm not a badass by any stretch of means. I took up self defense. I worked out. I got myself fit. I used to be picked on, not like hit or anything, but just hurtful words. So like those hurtful words give me fuel to get myself in shape. And then when I got myself in shape and took up self defense, and I got pretty good at that, I didn't take up self defense to beat somebody up. I took up self defense because it was good discipline, and I was able to defend myself. And then people started looking at me much different. So when somebody rubs me the wrong way to the point where I have to stand up and actually just say, I'm gonna have to roll the dice. I might have to end up getting beat up here, but I have to put my point across. Then that's when I stand up. And those was 3 instances, but the third one was real silly. So they got assigned seatings, right? So I'm all excited about going and seeing the movie. So I got this seat, man. So lady give me the ticket, and I had the seat, man. So I walk in there, and this dude sitting in my seat, and he knew. He looked at me. He knew he was in the wrong. Him, his friend, and his friend. I just stood there and looked at him. All three of them. Oh, hey, buddy. He goes, you need some help? Something wrong? I looked at him and said, yeah, you got my seat. And I just went like that. So you know what? Forget it. So I just sat down, sat in another seat. So I was just waiting on somebody else to see if they was gonna come, and this is what there was their seat, because it was like, uh, it was like not full. So I kind of figured that seat might be available, and I was just sitting there like, this dude knew that he was in the wrong seat. Him and his friend. They was a bunch of overweight, out of shape. I don't like calling people names. I just looked at them, all three. I'm like. So I sat in the seat and I just was disgusted, but I enjoyed the movie. So I'm giving you guys these stories because I'm trying to get you to understand that y'all, a lot of people out there, these YouTubers, this is why I was talking about YouTubers, man. The movie experience in the movie theaters are fun still, but there are instances where this is why people are getting into watching movies at home, getting into being able to hit pause and buying these state-of-the-art TVs. They're just getting better and better. And then you got people that has room to actually build up they build up kind of like a movie theater room. And that's why I was bringing this up. And so I understand why people don't like going to the movie theaters, but it's more than just the streaming services. This is all I hear is about the streaming services is hurting the movie industry. It's not. The COVID hurt it, and then it just kept being one thing after another. When you had certain every movie that was being put out, it had stuff in it that we didn't care for, especially for me. And just you guys know that there's a lot of movies out there over the past. It's been a while. It's been almost 10, 12 years. They just constantly put movies out that's got stuff in that we don't care for. I won't even go into specifics. And so the reason why I'm just dropping this because it's a little bit, the reason why the movie industry is hurting, it's a little bit of everything. It's Now the movie theaters I go to, I've not went to one movie theater where it was filthy. My movie theater in this little small town I live in, it's fine. When I go to movie theaters with my daughter in Cincinnati, it's fine. When I go to my two sons that live in Columbus, their theaters that they take me to, they're fine. So I've never really had anything to deal with filth. I've really only had those 3 instances, and those 3 instances, man, they really pushed my buttons, man. And I was just, man. So I understand how people don't really want to put up with that. So what I'm trying to tell you is, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think it's just the streaming services. The streaming services hurt, but the streaming services, if you was in the streaming services, let's just say hypothetically, if you was in the streaming services and you had all these people that was shut down and stuck in their house, of course you're going to try to suck them into your streaming services. And you guys knew that the streaming services wasn't going to stay cheap. I even knew that, you know. Uh, uh, you know, I always tell people at the end of the day, when I talk to people, at the end of the day, man, you don't have to have not one drop of streaming services in your house. You don't have to sit around complaining about streaming services. If you're complaining about food and gas and this and that, there's people that take trips that's $6,000 to $7,000. They don't never complain about that. They'll say, "Oh yeah, well that's just an experience." Yeah, but you dropped $6,000, $7,000 to $12,000 for a trip. Nothing wrong with that. But you're going to bitch about $25 a month for a freaking streaming service? I just don't get it. So I'm trying to say that there's more to it. You have these, and I'm not picking on physical copy people because I'm a big physical copy guy. I like physical copy. I ain't gonna lie. If I see something out there I like, I'm gonna drop the cash. It's as simple as that. I'm gonna drop the cash, you guys. I am. I want it. I'm gonna drop the cash. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted the Steam Deck. I dropped the cash. I wanted the PS5. I dropped the cash. I wanted this TV here, man. I dropped the cash for that TV, man. I like it, but man, this thing it ain't even a year old yet. But I dropped the cash. I waited on the sale and I got it at a good price, but it still was expensive. But at the end of the day, I'm just saying the streaming services is not really to blame. You could say it is, but I just think the quality of streaming has just gone up. Like I was watching, you know why I like streaming services? Because I told you guys this before. Streaming services has those originals. You have Stranger Things on Netflix. You have Welcome to Derry on HBO Max, which I know Netflix is trying to buy HBO Max. Everybody's got their underwear and panties in a wad over that, which is, I just don't understand why that is. You didn't say anything when Disney bought Fox, but that, you know what, I'm not gonna get on that. What else? You got Peacock, got Teacup, they got a couple things I watched. It was something I watched the other day was on there. They got those originals on there. You got MGM Plus, it has they has good originals. And let me break this down for you. So what is the movie star supposed to do? Oh, I can't make that. Why? Because people on YouTube and most people don't like streaming services. But I need the money. But I don't want that role because it's a streaming service. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, folks, these people have got to make the money. This is their livelihood, and they gotta get their money somehow because the Hollywood is just not the same anymore. Streaming services are making some quality good stuff. You can't say they don't. I don't have streaming services for just to watch movies. I have tons of movies in this house. It's just that the streaming service, Netflix to me has just, you can't find nothing on Netflix, man. You just can't find nothing. A lot of people, oh, they got a lot of junk. They do. But so does everybody else. I found some stuff on Amazon the other day, man. Yesterday, I found something on Amazon. I sit there and watch and watch and watch and watch and watch. Paused it. And then went and got my stationary bike and did an hour on my stationary bike and watched something on Amazon. On Amazon. So it's more to it. More to it. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. Let's just say hypothetically, which I'm not into that. If I played the lottery, which I don't, and I do just occasionally when it's like super big, I'll be like, how much is it? Because I'll be somewhere and I'll be like, damn, man, where's all these? I'm trying to stop cussing, but I was like, why are these people in here? And a girl says, she goes, the lottery's almost $1 billion. I said, really? She goes, yeah. I said, huh. Let me have one then with all the extras. And she goes, okay, and she'll give me one. I never win. But let's say hypothetically you run into a big chunk of money and you can get this. Like I live by myself, so I don't have a girlfriend. It's just me and my cat. So, I haven't been in a relationship since 2009. So what I'm saying is that if I was to do that, I would get a room big enough so I can have room I would get a bigger room for my gym equipment, and I would get an extra room, double the size of this room, and I'd make me a little home theater. I really would. I'd get the home theater seats and all that good stuff. I would deck it out. But with me doing that, I would still go to the movies and go see a movie. And then when I go, I'd walk out and I go, man, I can't wait till this comes out on, out on DVD or you know, uh, come out on physical because I said, man, I got my home theater, man. I said, this thing's gonna sound good in my home theater. So for me, it don't make me not go to the theaters. I think uh, the theater situation and the movie going situation is it's just more to it. One is the quality of movies, and two is it's what they put in movies. A lot of us don't want to see a lot of stuff that they're trying to pump out, and we don't want to be. Uh, you guys know the deal. And then sometimes we have been trained so well due to the fact that we had a chance to sit back and watch all these streaming services. We look and go like, man, that should be on streaming. That's not a movie that should be in the theater. We could see that. So it's just a uh, lot of stuff. It's just more than just streaming services. I just think that's just a cop out. You know, here's the thing about streaming services. Before it was streaming service, you had network TV. And I remember I used to come home and I remember back in the day, it was back in the day, it says, man, you ready for the fall season? I said, yeah, man. I said, they're going to show the lineup of the fall season. Now, this is something that a lot of y'all don't remember. I remember when they had the fall lineup and we used to go home and watch the fall lineup. And I say, oh, that looks good. This would be on CBS and this would be on ABC and NBC and all that. You'd be like, oh man, that comes on at the same time, so and so. But then later on, as you remember, they end up giving you a DVR so you can catch some of this stuff. So I remember the fall lineup, network TV, and it was network TV. That was network had the fall lineup, and there used to be a lot of good stuff to come out. Some was hit or miss, but I remember when they had a show that be number one for a couple years. For like 2 or 3 years, and then that 1 year have fall lineup, there'd be another hot show to take off, and it would like drop the ratings on that number one show because everybody's watching that. Y'all don't remember that? I remember that clearly. But here we are talking about streaming services. I just don't get the streaming service thing though. I really do not get the streaming service thing because at the end of the day, you don't have to watch streaming service. But this is not about streaming service. I'm just using this as an example of a fact that I just don't get the fact that you're complaining about streaming service, and I don't understand the fact that you're complaining about the price. You knew that this price wasn't going to stay the same. I got eyes, I could see, I could look at that and go, dang, that was nice, man. That was really good. That was, they put, all the streaming services put out junk, filler, I call it. But sometimes when I watch stuff, I was like, man, that was top-notch quality. Now, it wasn't cheap. So, and then let's talk about the actors and the actresses. They have to make money, you guys. If the streaming service is going to pay them a nice chunk of change to be in one of their streaming movies or a streaming series, they got to make money at the end of the day if Hollywood's not giving them jobs. And then you got the writer's strike. The writer's strikes was another one. They want more money. Everybody wants more and more and more. You got people want more money. You want actors want more money. You want people to have more of this and more of that. And then on top of that, we want to pay less. And I just think it has a lot. I just think that at the end of the day, it's just more than streaming services. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I have on my YouTube channel, I wanted to share. I just wanted to share this. I just think, what do you guys think? I ain't gonna lie, man. When I watch a movie in the theater, I can't wait to go home I can't wait. I'll take that back. I always say that is going to be a physical copy. And even if it ain't a physical copy, I'll get it on digital. Don't bother me none. I really do. I don't have time for all that. I was like, man, that come out on digital. I'm gonna buy that when it's available on digital because I can't wait to hear that on my surround sound system at home. Because I got me a nice sound. I got me a nice little setup. A lot of y'all out there got a nice little setup. And so You just like, I can't wait to get that. Sometimes you don't want to wait. You just go on digital, or you just look and see digital have a sale, and you be like, man, I want that movie. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. That's a nice price for digital, even though you don't really own it. And I get that too. So anyway, in closing, I just thought I'd drop this because I just happened to see that article about home theater seats, and I was like, dang, man, I said, man, there are people out there, man, that got some nice little home theaters that they set up due to the fact that they was all stuck in the house, you know, on COVID. And then after that was over, you had a period, the movie industry was trying to get back up. You had a lot of production that was shut down because people couldn't finish their movie, and it just put everything back and back and back. And then you had the movie industry was throwing in a lot of stuff that we didn't want to see, and that we didn't want to see a lot of stuff. We didn't want to hear a lot of stuff. And so that just constantly and then you got a lot of movies that was just pure junk. And that it's a little bit of a lot of stuff is why the entertainment industry is hurting, and the attendance of going to a movie is hurting, and it costs so much to go out. If you take a family of 5 out to a movie, when I go to movies, I automatically know that it's going to cost me money. Like if I go with my daughter, and I go with her boyfriend, and I take my grandson, which he hasn't been going because he's a teenager now, so he just don't, it has to be something good for him. When he's little, he went, but he's a teenager now, so it's just me, him, and her. Well, I knew I was going to drop, I don't know. She takes me to these IMAX theaters in Cincinnati, and it's real nice. I don't really want to go to no rundown theater. She takes me to a nice one. She knows I like it. I walk in and be like, oh, wow, man, this is nice, Andrea, this is nice. My daughter's name's Andrea, and I was like, oh, man, I like this. This is really nice. And then we'll get the ticket, and she goes, Dad, sure you don't want me to pay for it? I said, nope, I ain't seen you in a while. I said, I don't talk to your boyfriend that much. And I said, I just want to hang out with you guys for a little bit so we just go. And I know I'm going to drop, I don't know. Tickets can be anywhere between $9 to $13 a piece. I don't care. It's just an experience because I like it. I like going to movies. So same way with my son. When I go with my son in Columbus, it's just me, him, and his girlfriend. Either he pays or I pay. We don't get the ticket and go, oh my God, look at that price. We just don't do that. We're just excited about seeing the movie. Because you don't go see movies every day. You only go see movies if it's a movie that you want to go see. You ever thought about that? Same way with my other son that lives in Columbus. It'd be me, him, and my friend. We meet up. I pay most of the time. He takes me to another nice theater. And there's a lot of nice theaters in Columbus. Nice theaters in Cincinnati. So. And when I pay for the ticket, one time it was me, my friend, my son, and I think I dropped like, I don't know, 40 or $50 on tickets. I didn't care because we wanted to go see the movie. The movie was okay. It wasn't great. It was, Jurassic World Rebirth. I went and seen that movie. It was me, my friend, and my son. And me. That was 5 tickets. I ain't gonna lie. I think I dropped it was a nice chunk of change for all those movies because this was a nice theater. We went and seen Jurassic World that everybody says is trash, which ain't trash to me, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. We had a good time. I told him, I said, movie's okay, man. I said, but I'm just into watching dinosaurs. I'm always interested in how they can make the dinosaurs look so real and how they can wrap a story around it. I know that movie wasn't that good. I bought it, but I wouldn't like, oh, this movie's trash. Movie almost made $1 billion, you guys, by the way. So somebody must have liked it. So I hope this video makes sense. I've been telling you, I've been trying to drop some videos that I feel like I want to make. And I got to stop worrying about people who are subscribing, people who are unsubscribing, and I got to stop worrying about how many views I get because I've been sitting back the last couple of weeks. I'm feeling pretty good, man. So like I said, I'm starting to drop videos like this because this is videos I feel like I want to talk about. So anyway, in closing, what do you guys think is the cause of movie industries and the theatrical experiences not being the same? Drop a comment. Let me know, because I just think it's a little bit of a lot of stuff. Just a lot of stuff. Like I said, you can't blame it on streaming, because I don't understand how you can blame it on streaming when streaming took off during the COVID, and they sunk all that money into a lot of it, and I knew they wasn't going to keep the price the same. Y'all knew that. And then network TV, before streaming was big, network TV, I remember they used to have the fall lineup. A lot of us used to go home just to watch the fall lineup. And we couldn't wait. We'd say, oh man, I can't wait to watch that show. It looks good. And then, you know, that was called the fall lineup. I just don't understand how y'all don't remember all that. And that is no different than what streaming services does. I don't have streaming services for movies. I have streaming services for their original titles. That's why I got streaming services. HBO Max got some good stuff. Netflix, no matter what you may say about Netflix, they got good stuff. You can find it. Peacock, I don't know why I like Peacock. I tried to get rid of it and I just keep them. Apple got good stuff. MGM got that series From, and they got good stuff. So I don't know, you guys. I just don't know if you know, like I said, I this was all about me looking at that article and seeing that home theater seats, man, at 20. I said, man, them some nice seats. And then I kept imagining myself saying, man, I can't imagine having me a big room and I could make it into a big theater room and just start watching my movies at home. But I'm not going to sit back and say I'm not going to the theater ever because I have a home theater. I'll just be like, I'm going to go see it. And then knowing that I built this nice home theater at home, I'm be like, man, I can't wait to own that, because that'd be a movie I could pop in when I want to watch it. I could just go in my home theater and just watch it. So anyway, guys, have a good day out there. Be safe out there. It's cold today. God bless and have a good, safe week coming.